Well, listen, last night Nadiya Hussain joined Kate Garraway for the second episode of Life Stories. And she opened up about the really horrific bullying that she suffered at school. Oh, good for her. She's such a strong character, Nadiya, isn't she? I mean, unless you've been in that situation. I haven't. You know, that wasn't my school experience, and it sounds pretty extreme. I mean, have you experienced that feeling of real fear at school, particularly?
I was never bullied to an extent like that, but I always used to have like one or two people that just decided that they didn't like. This was like secondary school where they wanted to fight me. So I'd always, like, you know, every day walking to school or walking home from school, or when I was going into the playground for break, I'd always be terrified that she was going to come and find me and that we were going to have this fight. And I'd never had a fight in my life, you know. I was genuinely terrified of her, but nothing ever actually happened. But I think now when I've seen them since and seen who they are, and I'm not scared of them anymore. I think when you get older, you realise, like we were saying, you know, they're these big characters when you're at school, and whether they're the popular ones or they're the hard ones, you know, people used to say at school, they're not that as adults. And you kind of realise they're just the same as anyone else. And actually, most of them had come from a really horrible... They were going through really horrible things when they were younger.
And obviously, Kate was putting that, you know, question as what would you say to them now? I mean, would you ever want, you think, some kind of, not necessarily a showdown, but some sort of reconciliation or meeting with people?
You're going in with expectations, aren't you, that you will get what you want to hear. And I think setting yourself up for something like that takes a lot of courage, and you've also got to have a real reality check that will you feel better if they say, yeah, I'm sorry, or I don't remember what you're talking about. A lot of bullies won't remember they were bullies anyway, so if you're going to remind them, you might not get the outcome you want. So I think it's quite a tricky area. Some people's arguments will...
But that's interesting. They might not not know that they were a bully.
Yeah, they may not have interpreted it in that way. And I think, do you know what? It's going externally looking for closure. And actually, closure isn't something you go and seek from somebody else. Closure comes from within, because closure is a journey of acceptance and letting go and, you know, finding peace. You don't need apologies and other people to come to you to find inner peace. That's why it is inner.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But, you know, it's funny that you say that, Sunetta, because I always think, like, when we discuss bullying and, you know, kind of we're on a panel in the public eye, whatever, there's always this assumption that we would be on the receiving end of it. And how many of us actually really look into ourselves and maybe the kids we were and think, gosh, did I treat that person badly? Even though I didn't think of it at the time, or maybe I got drawn into something, and that somebody could look back and say, well, actually, you made me feel rubbish.
I think that's what, like, Sunetta said. She was like, you know, they might not realise they've done it. I think...
But we might not realise. Have you ever thought, did I do it?
You might not. But I definitely know, you know, I was always trying to be nice to everyone, and I wouldn't have ever liked to have upset someone. But I definitely know that I had been there when someone else was being horrible to someone else, and I didn't step up and say, actually, this is wrong. And you're kids, you know, you're just trying to fit in. You don't want to be on the receiving end of it. Oh, if I'm not doing it, then I'm not a part of it. But you are in a way. Now, as an adult, you'd be like, oh, I don't think that's right, actually.
It's different at school. Like, you're finding your identity, you're navigating your way through life. And I think, actually, if you do bully somebody, it probably comes from a place of distress and harm. Maybe you're from, a difficult setup at home.
Yeah.
It's fight or flight. It's survival instinct, isn't it? Like, am I going to be the person that gets bullied, or am I going to stand with the people who are bullying? I mean, it must be really hard for children to navigate that, no matter what age.
What did you say it was,
that saying, hurt people, hurt people.
I love that.
And that's how you can put empathy on the situation.
But having said that, the flip side of it is nothing could excuse the behaviour that Nadiya Hussain was subjected to, which was utterly unacceptable.
I mean,
so it's such a difficult balance, isn't it? There's an interesting comment from Anastasia says, yes, I have met my bully, but she has changed and we've become good friends over the years. I know more about her childhood now and can also offer some kind of understanding as to why she was the way she was.
That's a really nice way of being able to resolve it. We also got there was another letter that was printed in a magazine recently, which was about the bully responding in an email and saying, I would tear you down to build me up.
Yeah.
And I'm truly sorry for the way I treated you. And he ends it by saying, I should have made amends to you years ago, and I'm sorry for the way I treated you. Thank you for calling me out.
That's
And I think
interesting.
that thank you is much better than the sorry.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like,
accountability,
rather than saying, I'm
isn't
sorry, I hurt you, him saying, thank you for calling me out, makes you actually feel empowered more.
Yeah,
That's
because we
true.
talk about bullying, don't we? And we kind of go in circles with it. But we have to understand where it comes from to
Yeah.
be able to address it. I mean, if we just say, all bullies bad, terrible, you know, put them over there, and I'm not condoning the behaviour at all, but unless you understand behaviour, you don't unravel behaviour. And I think...
And everyone has a different idea of what bullying is, don't they? And what...
Yeah, 100%.